Good morning, everybody. How are you? I'm Joshua Porter, and I'm your teacher for today. I want to make sure the lesson audio and everything is going through okay. Let me fix that there. Yeah, can you hear me okay? Is everybody here ready to learn? This is the second class in a series about APA formatting, in-text citation, and references. Is the topic for today. We're going to go over last week's notes, but I want to make sure everybody can hear me all right and you're doing well. So, good morning to you. We have, Vivek says no sound, but let me know. Is everybody else doing okay? Maybe Vivek is just muted. Rosa says it's okay. Shay says clear and sound. Clear and sound. I like it. So good morning, everybody, or good evening, or good night, or good afternoon, whatever time it is. All of you are joining us here in this class, in this studio here in beautiful Spokane, Washington, in the summertime, to learn about APA. And I was kind of monitoring the chat as you guys were going through and welcoming each other, and there were some great questions in there, great comments, responses. I hope you do, French Leo. I hope you do. It looks like we're having fun and we're getting ready for class. One of you had mentioned that it'd be nice to have a place, I think it was Shay, where we could go and chat with other people. We need a technical solution to practice our verbal listening and verbal skills online. And I think you're right. I think that's a great opportunity. We used to do that in my class for the premium subscribers, and we've taken a little bit of a break because some of our regular attendees haven't been able to watch every class live like this, like we are right now. I can answer your questions as we go. They have to watch it later on because of other obligations like school or work. And so when the majority of students can't show up, I've opted to not do the group chats. But I think I'm going to host one soon. Next month, one of the classes afterwards, I want to set up and host a group chat for our premium subscribers. So if you're signed up, you get a month free, so you could sign up now and be included in that if you want. Just email Zach if you want to sign up, or go to smartenglish.com/live/live. Let me bring that up in the background for you. I think it would be great too, Shay. Why not, right? Why wouldn't we do that? So here's smartlive.com or smartenglish.com/live/live. I will paste this link in the chat so everybody has it. I will also write it in our class notes. So what is a subscription? You get an hour lesson per week with a Canadian or American teacher like this, which we all get. But you also get access to the course. So all the pages that I show you, you have access to. You get teacher-marked assignments. I personally mark them. Sometimes I do video corrections. I also often do hangouts with students after class or at a different time in the week that's good for them so that we can kind of talk and chat and figure out what's going on individually for each student. And then quizzes and exams, and eventually an official Smart English certification. So you get 1 month free. It's only $35 Canadian after that. And the way the Canadian dollar is right now, at least compared to the American dollar, it's a good deal. You're getting a good deal. So, all right. You want to know more about me, Mohammed. Okay, Mohammed wants to know more about me. What do you want to know? Ask a question. I'm an open book. I am happy to answer any questions you have for me about me. But if you want, you can sign up with any of these teachers. There's Intermediate English with Sean, Upper Intermediate with Neil, and then English for academic purposes, this class with this goofy looking guy right there. Who is that guy? I mean, come on. Crazy. Okay. Let's go. And this is, of course, this class right now, live 15:30 GMT every Thursday. And you can take a free English level test as well. I'll put this link in the chat. There we go. So take the English level test if you haven't. If you've already done it, don't worry about it. I'll give you a time to take it again. Just let me know. when you took it last in an email. So I'm going to take attendance for our premium subscribers right now. And it looks like almost everybody's signed in. That's good. And then I will... Oh, it doubled up. I'm a little too quick. Okay, so attendance is taken. Now we're going to go ahead and open some of the APA lessons. So you get access to a whole lot when you sign up for Smrt English Live. There are thousands and thousands of courses on here, some of which I'm developing or have developed. And they're really good. We work with a great team of experts to provide you the best English acquisition. Not only that, though, it's entertaining. We try to make it fun, sexy, cool, innovative. And I know those are all buzzwords that people say, but really, it's a teacher's job to make information interesting, or at least to inspire you to find it interesting in your own way. We had great conversations about reading, where some students told me, Josh, I don't like to read, or it's so horrible, or which is fine. It's okay to feel that way. I've felt that way in my own past. But you need to understand that we all are there, right? We all are bored with studying sometimes. Even your teachers, whether they'll admit it or not, at one point in their life, they've had a bad class or a difficult day, or were bored at one point. So I do my very best to make this interesting for you, and to work individually, where one student might say, I don't really like this at all, but I like this. And I'll try to sort of nurture that and guide in that direction. So I will do everything I can to make learning fun for you, and to help you out individually. You might be great at reading, but you need some speaking practice, or you need to improve your listening skills. Every single one of you are very skilled at lots of areas of English, and you struggle in a few areas. And those areas are different for different students, so I try to help with that. Okay. Shay says that your education system is very boring, very poor, nothing interesting about it. I'm sorry. That's often the case, but that's why you're here, right? And we can have fun, so don't worry about it. Okay, Rosa's going to watch the class later. She has to go. Everyone say goodbye to Rosa. We'll miss you. I will read your email, and I'll get back to you. Great example there. I'm happy to help Rosa, one of our amazing premium subscribers. She's been with us a long time. I'm happy to help her with her individual goals. If she has to go today, no problem. Just watch the video later, and I will message you, and we'll chat, and we'll figure it out. Okay? Okay, Pamela, you'll get the results of the test, if that's what you're talking about, from our Smrt Live team. Okay? Antonio, hello. Hello, everybody. Okay, so we need to get moving today. We got a lot of stuff to cover. So I'm going to move on to our notes from last week. These are the notes we made. Here's where you can sign up for Smrt Live classes, first free month. Here is Zach's email address. If you have questions about signing up, he can help you. And then, of course, here is my email address if you want to ask me anything. The lesson's going to start, Ash, in just a minute. We're just going over notes from last week. So the homework for last week was lesson 3909, and that was APA citation homework. We haven't gotten to the reference page yet, but this is APA citation homework. We went over the reference guide, and we looked at examples. Let's look at some again. So an APA citation, which, if you remember, APA is the American Psychological Association. It's a group of educators that created a style of writing commonly used in the hard sciences. So those are biology, chemistry, geology, psychology, sociology. These publications within the hard sciences are generally written in APA. Hacker's Pride, Subject. I'm going to go over how to cite a author, group of authors with 4 names, or a person with 4 names, a single person also, in just a bit. INSAR, okay, sorry, INSAR. MLA is another writing style. It's used in the liberal arts, so philosophy, creative writing, etc. Notes about APA. The first thing is all of your font in your paper should be Times New Roman. That's the style right here, Times New Roman. 12 point or size 12 and double spaced. That's the easiest way to set up and start doing APA stylization, okay? Times New Roman, size 12, double spaced. If you attended my classes in person, I would say that like 15, 20 times in a class, just so my students would be, like, it would be drilled into their brains, that rote memory, right? Just saying something again and again until we remember it. So here's a little screenshot, and these are notes, again, I share with all of our premium subscribers, so you guys will have them. This is the publication manual that we're all referencing. Everybody on the internet that's talking about APA, this is the manual. This is the 6th edition American Psychological Association publication manual. This is another great site, Purdue OWL, the online writing lab. It's a great resource. Here's a book buying site. How to change Google's default style. All of this is in the last video, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Whenever I say the word indent, I mean to use the tab key. Sometimes it's just a little arrow with a line on it on your keyboard, or just an arrow. And this indents your first line of a paragraph. Do not use the space bar. So here's part 2. This is notes. These are notes for today. We're going to go over InText Citation and a reference page. Sala says, I'm in a branch of biology that deals with the immune system of the body. Oh, very cool. That's awesome. Melinda is watching a black screen with captions. Something went wrong. It's probably your connection, Melinda. Just try to refresh, maybe lower the bit rate. Okay. And let's see. Oh, Mohammed wanted to know about my education and career background. So a little bit about my education. I did my undergraduate study at Eastern Washington University, where I got a degree in creative writing after almost finishing my secondary ed degree. I also got a degree in anthropology, where I focused on Mesoamerican archaeology. So the archaeology of Mesoamerica, which is Mexico into the countries of Central America, studying the Maya, Aztec, etc. I then went on to pursue a certification in medicine. I'm a certified pharmaceutical technician. I have my CPHT that is expired because I don't practice anymore. I have used that medical knowledge, though, to develop curricula for English speakers. So I'm a curricula developer and designer. I'm the former director of the Spokane College of English Language, an international college here in Spokane, Washington, that has sadly closed its doors due to international student decline into the States and the owner's decision. And so we have collaborated. I have collaborated in Spokane with many great entities, Gonzaga University. I'm a member of the Spokane Regional ESL Consortium, the Spokane Regional ESL, or excuse me, Spokane ESL Conference, and myriad other organizations. I work with a lot of nonprofits, mainly to help refugees and speakers of other languages in the Pacific Northwest. I've also piloted a project that was a collaborative project with Gonzaga University, where we trained medical interpreters, or we trained to prepare potential medical interpreters for the state certification test, so that if someone speaks a language that needs more support in the medical field for translation, they can test their ability to translate medical language to help other people. So it's a really cool project. We're in our second year, and I do tons of stuff like that. Basically, I like to help people. I love language, I love culture, and I love to help people. So if you want to put it all together into just three things, everything I do comes from a love of language, of culture, and of helping people. That's the basic part. Anyway, that's a little bit about me. I want to try to answer everybody's questions, so let me... Che asks, am I married? Do I have a girlfriend? You want to know a little bit more about that background. Oh, maybe you're talking to Vivek. I don't know. I'll take some of those questions after class, I think, if they're for me. Right now, I'm going to focus on the lesson at hand. So hopefully that answers a little bit about my educational background, etc. There's more, too. It's just limited time, right? So into APA, we're going to do InText Citations and a reference page. So these are references. These are the references. Here are the InText citations. So this is what the InText citation looks like. And this is what the reference on the reference page looks like. The hanging indent, which we talked a little bit about last week. And then also the InText citation, which we didn't really cover, we didn't talk about. We talked about how to cite if there's multiple names. So here you can see there's 4 names: Smith, Jones, Davies, and Stampson. When we look at that, we know that those are 4 different people. But Sarbajit had a good question earlier. He said, he asked, what if one person has 4 names? Generally speaking, on the publication of the journal, they will list the names that they want to be cited under, the last of which is what we would consider the last name. So if it's, for example, Jose Arlindo Buendia Sanchez, so there's 4 names there, right? Then we're going to cite Sanchez is the last name, Jose Sanchez. First name, and then the last of the last 4 names. So, for example, here, if that was the 4th author, and it's one person with 4 names, we could do, Sanchez, J. Or if they use multiple names in the publication, you can abbreviate those multiple names. So these authors have 3 names. It might be, Terrence Michael Jones, T.M. Jones. So we abbreviate the first name, the middle name, and the last name. I don't know that I've ever seen one with 4 in a citation, like if there was Terrence Michael Jacob Jones, if it was T.M.J. Jones. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up and get back to you. But yes, not everybody has a surname, family name, last name. So we look to the publication and we do the best we can. And there are resources, but generally speaking, most people who publish use 2 or 3 names, and we're going to look at how to cite those. So here's an interesting thing about your citations. If this was a long list of citations in a reference page, we cite the order of names for one reference exactly as they appear on the publication. Now, it's important to the authors who publish that work that the names be in that order. It's a discussion between the authors of a book or a journal article, etc., a paper, what the order of names is, and whatever they decide on, the authors, the writers, is what we should go with because that's important to them. For example, maybe the first author listed did the bulk of the work, and the second 2 authors helped out and wrote a little bit, but it's important that that first author goes first. Now, of the references, we start with the first author listed, but in the reference page, those are listed alphabetically. Alphabetical descending order, so A, B, C, D, etc. Okay. Melinda, that's okay. You watched the lesson later, and I'm sorry you're having a bad connection in Vietnam. Hello to Vietnam, and we will miss you, but you'll watch this video later, so hi again. Have a good day, and email me if you have any questions, okay? All right. Steve wants to know my middle name. My middle name is Kenneth. Kenneth. So if I published my name under Joshua Kenneth Porter on the publication, on the journal article or whatnot, I would be abbreviated Porter JK. Porter, comma, JK. So that's a good point. All right. Let's see here. Allah still can't hear anything. Allah, it must be your settings. I think everybody else can hear okay. So maybe check your headphones if you're using headphones, or check your settings. If anything else, refresh or restart your computer. And you can watch the part you missed later. All right, so reference guidelines. It should always be double-spaced and alphabetized with a hanging indent. And alphabetized, again, means the first author last name listed in alphabetical descending order. And I'll show you more examples of that too. So here are the answers to, here is what the page looked like for the homework. So you were going to put together 4 or 5 different citations of research that you were doing if you were going to write an article or a paper. Of the ones that were given, so this one here, the article, LA Times, if you did this, here are the references. Now, I'm not going to go to every website and search and hunt for the information. You should have done that as your homework, but I will go over what the end product looks like. So here's an article that was written in 2009, August 3rd. Now, you're not always going to have the day. Sometimes you will only find the month. This is, ideally you find the day, the month, and the year. But if you can't, it's okay to list just the month and the year if that's all that is provided. Be sure to look closely. Also be sure to look because there are generally 2 dates. There's the publication date, and then sometimes it will say revised or edited date or updated. There's a few different terms that are used, but those dates can change if it is updated. Okay, Vency says, it's very strange. My level is not so good, but you speak fast and I manage to understand. Good, I hope so. That's very good. I try to enunciate and speak clearly, even when I'm speaking quickly, because I want you to get practice at a native pace. So I don't slow down for this class. I speak to you like I speak to my friends, my family. I'm speaking at a natural native speaker pace so you can become familiar with that speed. So good, I'm happy to hear that. All right, let's see. So here's another one. This was Conference Board of Canada and no date. This ND stands for no date. Sometimes there will be no date. Like I said, sometimes you'll find month and year, sometimes you'll find just or day, month, and year, and then sometimes no date at all. And that's okay. You still cite it. You just let your reader know, I could not find the date. There was no date. Okay, here's another one with the day, month, and year. We have the author last name, Dressel. The first name is H. And then we have the article title, the publication title, and then the URL, so the address there. And all of these have the hanging indent, as you can see. Allah, I am from Spokane, Washington, USA, in the Great Pacific Northwest. Sometimes called the Inland Northwest. It's a beautiful place. Lots of mountains, lots of nature. It's great. Vivex from the moon. So here are some more examples. Here's a Scientific American article published May 3rd, 2007. Here you see a colon. When there is a colon or a semicolon in APA formatting, we capitalize the next letter. This word would be capitalized no matter where it is in the title because it's a proper noun. It's the name of a country. It's the wonderful Canada, right? So we capitalize it. We also capitalize US for United States. We capitalize US. Oh, sorry, this is something different than the US. After semicolons or colons, we capitalize the next letter. Excuse me. After semicolons, we capitalize the next letter. But anywhere that you see a proper noun, you capitalize that. Otherwise, none of the letters in the title are capitalized. So not the N in number, not the T in two, none of the other words. Some stylizations or some professors will call for capitalizations of titles for the first word, which you do here, and then all other words except for particles like prepositions or articles. However, that's not the case in APA. In APA, you do capitalize the first letter. You capitalize a proper noun or a word after a semicolon, and then nothing else. Everything else is lowercase. Oop, right to there. So we have here first word, proper noun abbreviation. And that's all that's capitalized. You notice none of these other words are capitalized. That's APA. With two authors, here are two authors, last name born, first name starts with a K, last name Lapacious, I believe is how you pronounce that, first name initial A, and you use the ampersand in between. Now, if there are three authors, you use the ampersand after before the last author. So first author, second author, ampersand, third author. Same with 4. Same with 5. With 6 or more, you don't list. If there's 6 or more, you don't need to list all the authors. You would list the first author and then et al. Is how I understand it. So let's go into an example of InText Citation. Let me see if I can find an example of InText Citation. Okay, so this is the OWL, the Online Writing Lab through Purdue University. Again, this is a great resource. I'm going to paste this link into the chat if you want to bring it up in another window. And Acela says, or notes that it depends on the guidelines of the publication you are going to submit for. Yes, usually there's guidelines that you can find. Your professor should also give you guidelines for the paper. If they don't, you can ask for them. So ask if that's not provided for you. So InText Citations, we went over these basics before. You notice that there's contributors here listed, so we could cite this and use these contributors. There's also the last edited date. This is the date that we would use. So let's see. Author date method of InText Citation in APA format means we go with the author last name and the year of the publication. So here's a good example. Jones, 1998, old article. Now the reason we do citation is you're welcome, Sarah. The reason we do InText Citation is we don't want to be guilty of plagiarism. So who can tell me in the chat, what is plagiarism? What does that word mean? I'd like you guys to define it for me because I want to gauge your understanding. What is plagiarism? What does that mean when I say plagiarism? And I misspelled it there in the chat. Zooming in. Yes, I can zoom in. Absolutely. So we're going to look at some of these. Okay. I need to zoom out just a little bit. There we go. All right. It's like stealing someone else's words. Yeah, Sarbaji has a great definition. It's like stealing someone else's words. Now we can use other people's words, but we shouldn't use them without saying, oh, by the way, these are other people's words. I need you to know these are not my words. These are other people's words. Now, taking someone else's work and passing it as your own. JB has a great definition also. Asala says, it means you take others' thoughts and words without giving credit. French Leo says, it's pasting and copying the author. We usually collocate copying and pasting. We do copying first. But yeah, totally. Renal says, it's stealing the ideas. All right. So what I'd like to clarify, and what I think you know right now, which is really good, you notice that it's not just words, it's also thoughts, ideas, right? The difference between exact words and ideas is not really distinguished against when we're talking about plagiarism. What I mean by that is, I'm going to take somebody's sentence here. Okay. I'm going to take Vinci's sentence here, and I'm going to use that. I'm copying this from the chat. So Vinci talks to French Leo, says, French Leo, I did not manage to understand why you used past perfect. Okay, so I'm stealing this sentence, right? This is clearly not my sentence. We can all see in the chat that this is, do I say it Vinci? Vinci? So this is what Vinci wrote in the chat, okay? I'm going to put quotes in it. But let's say I'm writing a paper and I want to use these words. And I think, oh, I can just say, I haven't been able to understand or to comprehend why, let me zoom in here so you guys can see these, why you I haven't been able to comprehend why you decided to go with past perfect. So we notice manage here. I changed to did not. I said haven't. I changed the grammar a little bit, right? Been able to manage. I changed that. Comprehend. I used instead of understand. Why you used. I said decided to go with. That phrase, decided to go with. Why you chose, why you used. Maybe that's easier. Chose, past perfect. These sentences have basically the same meaning, right? French Leo, I did not manage to understand why you used past perfect. I haven't been able to comprehend why you chose past perfect. So these two sentences are different, right? So is this mine? Can I use this sentence now? Does this count as plagiarism? I want to know what you think in the chat. Am I plagiarizing Vinci by using this? Am I plagiarizing? What do you think? Is this plagiarism? Is it plagiarism that I essentially look up synonyms? French Leo says it's the same, you've only paraphrased. It's plagiarism. How about everybody else? What do you think? If I take a sentence and I use my thesaurus and I change every word, is it plagiarism? Vivek says no. Kasim says no. What else? Hiding Love says yes, I think. Thumbs up means yes. Sarbajit says it's stealing ideas but not words. So is that plagiarism? It is. Asala says it is. French Leo and Asala are right. It is plagiarism. We would still consider that. Your professors will still consider that plagiarism. Sarbajit says half plagiarism. Go ahead and crank that half up to full, Sarbajit. It's full plagiarism. We don't... Vinci, high level, that's okay. I'm glad you're here. Changing vocabulary only is not acceptable too. You're right. Asala's right. And French Leo's right. And Sarbajit is right in it's stealing thoughts. Stealing thoughts or words is plagiarism. So if I copy this sentence and I say it's my own words, it's plagiarism. If I change the words so that they are different words, but the idea is exactly the same, and this is very clear, it's the same. I did not manage to, I haven't been able to understand, comprehend why you used, why you chose. It is very clear that this is not my original thought. I've just taken it and changed the words. So that is the same as plagiarism. So Renal and Vivek and Kasim, please know this is plagiarism. You cannot do this in an academic essay, okay? A lot of students think you can. And a lot of students try to do this, but usually your professors want you to use a specific type of quotation, MLA, APA, and they definitely want you to use your own thoughts and words. It is absolutely okay to borrow ideas and take ideas if you tell people you're doing it. So if you paraphrase it, Sarbajit asks a good question. How will someone be able to know you plagiarized? Keep in mind that your professors are giving you assignments and books that they probably have read many, many times. They understand the core ideas, the core concepts. And not only have they read the books and the publications that they're giving you, but they've also read books about those books and citations about those books before. So whatever you choose to write down and whatever research you choose to do, your professor, your instructor has probably already done it. So they're going to know by just reading your paraphrase, oh, this is from this other source. I know this. Now, even if they didn't read it, AI and textual comprehension technology is getting better and better and better, to the point where pretty soon I'll be able to search a paraphrase sentence and find sentences that are really similar or exactly like it quite easily. There's online detectors. Asala knows about them. I use them all the time with my students, and I generally catch all the students who try to plagiarize in my class. So it's, yeah, just use your own words and thoughts, and if you don't, make sure you cite them. Okay, so if you want to use Vinci's sentence, go ahead, but then say, as Vinci stated, French Leo, I haven't been able to comprehend why you chose past perfect. Okay? This is what that citation would look like, okay? So we would use last name and then year. Okay, so enough about that. Just know plagiarism is using another writer's thoughts or ideas, or words without giving credit. Okay? That's the most important part, without giving credit. You can use other writers' thoughts, ideas, or words as long as you give credit. Giving credit is the important part. Okay? Vinci says, when I was a student many years ago, I had so many professors, but I remember only one who made his lectures in a very clear way to understand. That can happen. We all have that great professor, right? So today's writing, we're talking about APA guidelines, and we have more to go over. So let's look at more examples here. So here's some more in-text citations. So we include an in-text citation when we refer to, summarize, paraphrase, or quote from another source. There must be a corresponding entry in your reference list. So here's something I want to talk about. If we're creating a reference list, here, and here are references, which I'm going to center and make bold. And we're going to actually look at, the reference page example. From Purdue. Here is the reference page example, which should have a, here we go, references. So the references here, sorry, out of habit I made this bold. The references here, it's centered, 12-point font, Times New Roman. We're going to compare these here and create our own. And then we have our references. We have this one, hanging indent, 2, 3, 4. And you notice this is alphabetical descending order, C, H, T, U. So this is the reference page. Each reference that you use in text should have a corresponding, so in-text citation should have a corresponding reference at the end. So whatever I put here, let's just say, for example, citation 1, or reference 1, reference 2, reference 3, reference 4, okay? We'll fill these in a minute, but these are my 4 references. If my paper is up here, fake words, right? That would be indented. So here's a paragraph, right? And within this paragraph, reference 1. And then, more typing, and then I have reference 2. Let's say I don't have this third reference. This doesn't exist anywhere in my paper. But maybe I read it for research, and then I decided I didn't need any of that information. So if I'm writing about climate change and how reference 1 is a reference about the human causes of climate change, reference 2 is about the efforts being made to assist in halting our negative impact on the environment. Reference 3 was about the craziness of climate change deniers, and then reference 4 was further information about efforts being made to halt human contributate. contributions to climate change. And let's say I decided not to include the part about the crazy climate change deniers. If I didn't include reference 3 in my paper, I would eliminate that from my references, and I would just keep these original 3. So for every in-text citation, there should be a corresponding reference. And for every reference, there should be an in-text citation. They're paired. There should never be one without the other. That's the point of in-text citations, is just to reference your references. Does that make sense? Hopefully that helps a little bit. Okay. So let's talk about how we create our reference page a little bit more, okay? We have our Owl Purdue notes here with our example paper. Let me bring this back up. And I think for time, because we're running out of time, I'm going to copy this to show you how to create it in Google Docs, okay? So, I don't want to just copy paste because it would remove that format. The format is not preserved. So I'm just going to delete these spaces here. So you can kind of see what they look like. Okay. So we notice here, this first reference has 1, 2, 3 authors. 3 authors. We look here, 3 authors, and then the year. The title of the article is The Quality of Online Social Relationships. Title of the journal, Communications of the ACM, journal issue, and then optional volume and then optional issue, page numbers, and then that's it. Okay, so the page numbers are 103 to 108. In the reference page, we do not put page or P period for the page numbers. We just put the page numbers. So, and we only capitalize the first letter in the journal or article title. So I want to show you how to do the hanging indent here. So that's our second one. We'll get to that in a minute. So this is a complete reference. I think we actually make the volume italic also. Yes, we do. Or the issue volume. All right, so Cummings, Butler, and Kraut, 2002, and then the title of the article, italicized title of the journal with the issue number, and then the page numbers here at the end. So we need to do a hanging indent here. It's exactly the opposite of a paragraph. When we write a paragraph, like up here, we press the tab key, and that indents our paragraph, so we know where a new paragraph starts. We center the reference title, and this will also generally go, well, it's the only thing other than the title page that is centered. Here, we want to select, really quickly, I'm going to separate these so we can do them all at once and you can see how they move. Okay, so these are three different references. We have 1, and then we have 2. Where does 2 end? 2 ends here, and then we have 3. Okay. I think since this is so close together, do you see how it would be hard to tell the difference between this reference and this reference if we didn't put in a hanging indent. So we want to distinguish these. So what I'm going to do is select all of them, and then up here, I got to zoom way in. You see this little arrow, downward arrow, and then this top fine line indent or first line indent button. So we have our left indent, which is the arrow, and then we have our first line indent. So what we need to do is we need to drag out the whole thing. You grab the arrow and they both move. And then first line indent, this little bar at the top, I need to pull back. Okay? And this is the same spacing as if we were indenting a paragraph. It's just that it's the first line that is left aligned, and every line after is indented. So that's what this space is here, this space is here. Now it should be very clear and easy to see. This is reference 1, this is reference 2, and this is reference 3. I'm just making it bold so you can see those. So French Leo asked, Josh, for the references, should we wait till the end of our paper for writing them because we don't know which ones we're going to use? Yeah, you can do that as long as you save all of them. Here's what I do. I keep all of my references, and I don't always make them in the right format immediately. I do my references all in one go at the end. So what I do is, let's look up an article. I'm using scholar.google.com to find scholarly articles. Let's find an article about climate change. Okay, let's say I want to look at this article here. Let me see if I can find something that's easy to reference. Okay. That's a memo. I don't really want to reference a memo. Okay. So here we have Climate Change 2013, the physical science basis. We have our publication date. We have our publisher, Cambridge University Press. We have editors, who it was edited by. I will make notes of all these things. I sort of wish this was something that I could copy over easily just so I can show you, but I would write this down. I mean, so here's another one, Climate Change 1992, blah, blah, blah. Here are different references that I may or may not use, right? I might choose to use these, I might not, but I'm going to copy the information. Maybe I'll even just copy the links. I'll copy the link address and then put that in my notes so that I can reference it later, so I can create the reference later on. So I'll just make a list of the resources that I use, and then when it comes down to it, when I'm finished, I'll say, oh, did I use this? Did I not use this? And then I'll delete what I didn't use, only keep what I used. So Vinci says, my article has become to read not in the beginning but from the end, because if the author is not good, there's no point in reading it. You do need to research your sources and make sure your sources are good. That's true. Asala says you can prepare a list when you pick which articles you need, you eliminate the others. Yeah, I agree. Can we use a dot or any mark before each reference? Steve, good question. No is the answer. What Steve is asking is, can we do something like this? Can we use a bullet point or a dot? Or can we use numbers maybe? No. In APA formatting, you do not do that. You simply use the hanging indent, which again, you drag out and back. Drag the arrow out, drag the top bar back. That is your hanging indent. That's all you need. The other thing you should remember though is this should be alphabetized descending order. So C, H, and then T. If we go alphabetically in descending order, A to Z, by the first listed author's last name, we're good. That's how you should do it. Sarbjeet's going to email me 3 questions. I will answer your questions. I'm sorry we're running out of time. Write your references and citations on a separate paper. Yes, that is true. The reference page is usually the last page of your paper. To do that, so let's say, do you see how this is some of our notes? Let's pretend that this part up here, this part, is part of our paper. When we go to our references, we press Control Enter. That gives us a page break, and that puts the references at the very top of a new page. Not using bullet, dots, or numbers is APA. Yes, Steve, correct. Let me see. JB really prefers numbers or bullet points. Ask your instructor then. If you ask your instructor politely, if you can use them and they say yes, then go for it. But if you want to do correct APA formatting, don't use them. And I've felt the same way before. I have certain preferences. Like I like bold titles. I do. I think they look nice. It sets it apart. APA says no. It bugged me at first, but now I do it in the papers that I write or publish because it's what is asked. I mean, it's standard procedure. I'm following all the other great scientists before me. Let's see. All right. I think I've answered all the questions that I could in this time. I can go over more title page, that sort of thing later on. The majority of what I wanted to go over today was answering questions that students had emailed me, showing you how to, refreshing on how to start with Times New Roman size 12, double spaced, to center your title, what the title should look like, what the in-text citations should look like, and then authors' last names and dates. Hopefully this helped a little bit. Come back next week. We're gonna go over some interesting things over the next few weeks. We're gonna go over different kinds of mnemonics. What are tricks that you have learned throughout studying to help you remember information? This is gonna be part of note-taking ability. We haven't really talked about mnemonics a lot. A mnemonic is a way of remembering information that you acquire and storing it in your long-term memory. So I want to go over that in more detail with you and teach you a few tricks that I've learned through studying and ask you what tricks you've learned. There are some really interesting ones. For example, I had a hard time when I was a kid remembering which months had 31 days and which months had 30 days. And I didn't learn this until just recently, but my young nephew, he told me that if you use the knuckles on your hand and you just count through the months, so you say January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then again here, August, September, October, November, December. If you do that, all of the raised portions, all of the knuckles have 31 days if you double the last one, except for February, of course, which is the short month. So that's kind of a fun thing. And those are kind of little tricks that I'm talking about. What are And I want to ask all of you, I want you to email me this week and tell me little tricks that you have for remembering information, any information. We'll talk about it in English, so it's good English practice. But we'll go over mnemonics for English rules and ways that we can quickly and easily save information for notes, because that's a skill that is really important in academics. And then we'll also talk about some cool things that you have, some cool tricks for remembering information or saving valuable information. Okay? All right. Asala, I'm glad you're going to be in regular attendance in the class. It's good to have you. Azrang, we will... Okay. Who had the question? No French, Leo? Oh, it's a pattern style. We have no choice. It's not painting, Steve. Kind of true, yes. Steve, asking about dots or numbers, APA style. It's kind of just a way we can agree on things, right? We can agree to write in a similar way so that it's easy for other scientists and researchers to read. Okay. Everybody be cool in the chat, and I will see everyone next Thursday. That's all the time we have for today. But thank you. Be good to each other. Be good to the people around you. That makes the world a better place, right? So do something nice today. Smile at a stranger. Help somebody out. Go call your mom or dad and just say that you hope they have a good day. Yellow Sky 1, it's your first time here too. And Lamine Mohammed, welcome. Everybody say hi to Lamine and Yellow Sky 1. Glad you're here. Come back next week, Thursday at 15:30 GMT. You guys are great students. Sarbajit, I will chat with you in email. Rosa, I know you're not here right now in the chat, but you're probably watching this later. Thank you for that. JB, French Leo, great comments. Everyone, you guys are wonderful students. Steve, you're a great student. Azrang, Kala, who else? I don't want to miss anybody. Vinci, thank you for letting me temporarily steal your sentence. I appreciate it. So I'm going to see everybody next week, right? We'll go over mnemonics and note-taking, and then I'm up for suggestions for classes after that, too. I have a few planned out that I think are pretty cool, but you guys might have better ideas. So send me your suggestions. My email, of course, is joshua.live@smartenglish.com. Also, friend me on Facebook. I'm here at facebook.com/Mr. Joshua Porter. Someone was asking for a place to go and learn more English. Here is the Smrt Learn English on Facebook with Smrt group. This one's pretty cool. Check it out. Anyway, I will chat with everybody later on next week. Send me your ideas. Send me your questions. Have a great week and weekend. I'll see everybody later. Here's a few words from Sean.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want the full experience of being a student in a Smrt Live class with things like homework and teacher feedback, follow the link and become a premium subscriber. Also, if you want to see more videos from this class, check out our playlist.